Good afternoon and welcome to the news at 2. I am Chiegono Aro. In line with the new Electricity Act 2023 and the 1999 Constitution as amended, Enugu and Ekiti states have pulled out of the national electricity market to establish their own markets. In an order issued by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NEC transfers regulatory oversight of the electricity market in Enugu and Ekiti states to their newly established electricity regulatory commissions. NEC directs Enugu, Benin, and Ibadan electricity distribution companies to incorporate the subsidiaries. EEDC Subcommittee and Ibadan's Distribution Company Subcommittee to assume responsibility for intrastate supply and distribution of electricity in Enugu and Ekiti states. Enugu, Benin, and Ibadan electricity distribution companies are mandated to complete the incorporation of EEDC Subcommittee and Ibadan Subcommittee within 60 days from April 22nd this year, and all transfers envisaged by this order are to be completed by October 22nd this year. The Electricity Act 2023 mandates any state that intends to establish and regulate intrastate electricity market to deliver a formal notification of its processes and request NEC to act accordingly. NEC, however, retains the role as central regulator with regulatory oversight on the interstate and international power generation, transmission, supply, trading, and system operations. The Senate interfacing with the Federal Minister of Power to find solutions to changes of the sector and improve electricity supply nationwide, Joshua Ojito reports that efforts by the federal government to increase generation, strengthen transmission network, and ensure efficient distribution of electricity were brought forward before the Senate Committee on Power.
Supply has been a major challenge for Nigerians. Now, their representatives at the Senate are at the Federal Ministry of Power and the Transmission Company of Nigeria (TCN) to engage relevant stakeholders on how to improve electricity supply. Low generation, weak transmission and distribution networks, incessant grid collapse, as well as the recent hike in tariff, among others, are issues raised by the Senate Committee on Power.
What we're going to do is that we're going to also focus our oversight on the ministry with regard and the TCN with regard to the implementation of the World Bank project regarding SCADA.
While the Senate calls for more funding for the power sector, the upper chamber is emphatic that underperformance will not be tolerated. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu says ongoing investments in the sector, which include Siemens project, mass metering, initiative to construct 100 megawatt solar-powered projects in each state of the Federation to reduce pressure on the national grid, will soon yield results.
We are acquiring SCADA to make sure we're able to control frequency automatically. When we ramp up generation, because I believe that too low generation too affects grid stability. So this is where we want the support of the Senate.
A lot of transmission lines were vandalized, and some substations that are uncompleted, people went there and vandalized them. We are now trying to find a way either to take a Mobitra or try and buy the equipment that were stolen or damaged.
The Senate Committee on Power is expected to also engage distribution companies on issues of lot rejection and lack of investment in distribution infrastructure. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
A cross-section of beneficiaries of the Renewed Hope conditional cash transfer in Enugu State have lauded President Bola Tinubu in his efforts at eradicating poverty, stating that the payment has made life more meaningful to them. Nta Enugu reports that the conditional cash transfer payment has brought succor to many families in Enugu.
In October last year, President Bola Tinubu launched the Renewed Hope conditional cash transfer to 15 million households. The program launch, which coincided with the World Poverty Eradication Day, was an immediate intervention to cushion the effects of the removal of fuel subsidy and other economic shocks on multidimensional poor Nigerians, as expressed in the 8-point agenda of the Tinubu's administration. In Enugu State, the beneficiaries are overwhelmed by the impact of the cash payment.
I'm very, very grateful to be one of the beneficiaries. In fact, yesterday that I received the alert, I was excited. I rushed to my children's school and paid their school fees immediately. Before, I don't used to pay their school fees on time. Before I pay their school fees, maybe they will send my children out from the school.
For my first time experience, I'm so glad to be part of it. And it added so much to my business because it's made me to add some products to my small scale business.
The implementation process, which is done in phases across all the states of the Federation through the capturing of biometric data, BVN and NIN, has been described as impressive if sustained.
Program, just the last discussion by the Ministry of Trade and Investment, they made a notice that by 19th they'll start disbursing the cash in tranche to a lot of the demographics, 70% women and youth, 15% to other demographics, 5% to senior citizens.
It's a very, very good idea. If you match it with the constitutional cash transfer, the major thing is to make more money available to the people, and like what they are doing currently, to make sure that they capture those people who will benefit, so that everything will go through their banks, so that there will be no abuse. Because the major challenge we're having in Nigeria is abuse of the system. But if the implementation is such that those people meant are properly captured, it will be fine. But if you are giving somebody, say, 50,000 or 75,000 naira, it will mean something if you curtail inflation and if you guarantee security.
It is expected that about 62 million Nigerians will benefit from the laudable program geared towards eradication of poverty. In Enugu, Ikeria Ogu, NTA News.
We take a breather here. Stay with us. You're welcome. From Ebonyi State, Fortunate Azza reports that stakeholders are advocating proactive provision of dozer machines and excavators to enable rural farmers who are often prone to flooding to construct mini dams for dry season farming.
The fall farming season kickstarts in Ebonyi State with the attendant expectation of bumper harvest of farm produce such as rice, yam and other crops for both consumption and commercial purposes. Concerns are high as to how to maneuver those environmental factors that slow down the vision to make the state the food hub of the nation. However, in the wake of NIMET's prediction of flooding this year in 31 states of the Federation, Ebonyi State inclusive, farmers and environmental experts are advocating government's intervention through construction of dams and mini irrigation facilities to avert flood disaster, which will in turn ensure the availability of water for all year season farming.
I have a technology where we can grow tomatoes, onions, watermelon, cucumber without soil, but you can't grow any crop without water. And so what I advocate is that the state government should intervene, knowing full well that there's no way we can live without food.
We have flood in many of these areas. So we use those excess water, store them by way of creating mini irrigations for agri sector. And for the water harvesting, some of the local governments, through the efforts of the state, has started preparing what to call the groundwater reservoir.
If the dam that the federal government want to construct in Ebonyi is quickened now, that will help them to avert this flood and use it for their own advantage in dry season farming, which we have done a lot of sensitization to them through the ADP staff in all the 13 local government Ebonyi State, about 46. That is a special rice that friendly with flood. When flood can stay 4 or 5 days above, the rice will just come up with the flood. The flood rising. As the flood going down, it is receding, it will going down. So flood doesn't affect it. So in Ebonyi State, they are aware of every farmer, rice farmers in Ebonyi State is going for it and giving them a better yield.
Apart from a dam which is still under construction in Ivo Council area of the state, courtesy of the federal government, Ebonyi State government says efforts are being intensified on channelization of waterways, cleaning of drainages, planting of trees, and sensitization for people living in flood-prone areas on necessary precautionary measures.
What we have done is that we have made effort to channel our waters properly, so that in the event of this heavy downpour, that our waterways will be free, enabling the waters to have free passage to our areas where they are flushed off into the main rivers. Maybe in the coming months or years, we will be projecting that the state should be able to have reasonable number of dams.
Laudable as these measures are, respondents believe that with the channelization of major waterways, which is tackling flooding in Abakaliki metropolis, the gains achieved in the agricultural sector can further receive a boost if such measures are replicated in rural areas that are often the worst hit. In Abakaliki, Fortunate Ozo, NTA News.
Gift George is our guide on sports update.
Minister of Sports Development John Enugu says what Nigerian sportsmen and women need to win more laurels for the country is to be recognized and appreciated for their efforts in bringing glory to the land. The minister made this remark at the maiden edition of the Yucateco Boxing Awards in Lagos. Tagged Celebrating Our Heroes in Boxing, the gathering brought together top government officials, sports administrators, retired and serving coaches, and other boxing enthusiasts in the country.
It's the sense of appreciation by government and by Nigerians. So Ministry of Sports Development is concerned with two things that we found displayed and demonstrated here. One is the welfare of our athletes, both retired athletes and those who are currently in form.
I'm happy and I believe the young talent and they are now inspired. They know no matter how much hard work they put in and the height they achieve, sometimes somewhere through the government or through private individuals, right, the time for honor and recognition is coming. So it's going to do a great thing for the sport.
In badminton, Nigeria's para badminton star Mariam Eniola Bolaji has won the women's singles at the just concluded Spanish Para Badminton International in Victoria, Spain. The world number 10 beat the world number 6, Oksana Koziana of Ukraine, 2-0, 21-13 and 21-8 to clinch the gold medal. This will be a second Spanish title since making a debut in 2021.
Inter are champions. Inter win the derby. Inter win the Scudetto. Number 20 is no longer a dream.
Inter Milan Monday evening won the 2024 Serie A title after beating AC Milan by 2-1, creating an emphatic lead on the league table with 6 straight derby victory. The win gives Inter a 17-point advantage over their closest contender. This will be their 20th league title with 5 matches remaining in the season. Inter have become the second team to win 20 Italian league titles. With sports update, Gift George, NTA News.
And for more in the world of sports, here are tidbits for today. That's our package at 2 p.m. Do join us at 7 p.m. for a fresh news bulletin. Good afternoon.